Hello, friends. You have just been listening to the music of Marzi, song I Want to Be With You, and we at Warui Deshou also want to be with you. And hence we are here live on YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter's Periscope with our Stream of Thought series to talk some more about the wildest anime of this season. I think it's probably fair to say. Even though I haven't really seen that much else, I don't really see how anything else could contend. That's Akudama Drive. I am the Subtle Doctor, and along for the ride with me, as usual, he wants to ride, he wants to be on the back of the bike also. That's Shadon.
Good evening, ladies, gentlemen, MBs. I will be reprising my role of the drunkard this evening.
Yes,
with
that's
this
right.
Wonderful AM/PM beer that came me in a mystery beer box from a colleague at work. Cheers, James, if you're out there listening. But in the meantime, of course, I'm not here to rate and review beer. Not yet, anyway. Give me more time on that. We are, of course, here today to discuss Akudama Drive episodes 4, 5, and 6, which, I mean, I've never seen a show, or rather, I've not seen a show in a while, I think, that's consistently gone to 11 every single time. This show would say to you, like, oh, you want to go to 11? Well, I think that's fine. Do you also like your Nando's, like, super mild and flavor-free? You wuss.
It is
You watch this, yeah.
It is.
You watch the show and you just get hair on your chest all of a sudden. I had a beard all the way down here from watching Akudama Drive episode 4 and I had to very hastily shave it off as a result.
Yeah, it changed my hair color. I didn't do anything. It was just the TV show.
There you go.
But yeah, it's pretty scale breaking. It's like it's like a Kenny Omega match to Dave Meltzer, which is a bit of wrestling humor for all of you. I'll explain the joke because that's what I like to do. But of course, Dave Meltzer is a very well-respected wrestling journalist who reviews matches, among other things. And of course, he rates them on a 5-star scale. But a couple years ago, there was a match between Kenny Omega and Kazuchika Okada in New Japan Pro Wrestling that he rated 7 stars. So this Akudama Drive is that match of it is scale breaking. You have to reconfigure all of your ratings of wildness, and I love it. I mean, this is exactly what I was kind of expecting and wanting this show to be.
Yeah, I mean, when I finished episode 6, I just felt a strong compulsion to go out into the woods and start chopping wood.
Wait a minute.
While also wrestling a bear.
Yes. Okay. I'm with you now. Yeah.
What did you think of though? God, no,
did you want to eat meat raw and such like?
Well, I mean, it's perfectly viable as presented in the show.
That's true. That's true.
Although I'm very disappointed the brawler didn't tenderize his meat first, because he clearly would be quite capable of doing that. His solution to everything is to punch stuff. Come on, he'd have tenderized that meat with his bare hands. He'd just be like, he decided it.
Greetings to Rebel Panda. Unless this is a screen name change, I don't believe I have seen you around these parts before. Welcome.
It's the character from Beastars.
Right.
Chain-smoking Rambo Panda.
This got to be a character in... Did you ever play the SNES game Brutal Paws of Fury? Brutal, Paws of Fury.
I never owned a SNES, to be honest. I was a Sega kid, so that one...
You never owned a SNES. Get out of here.
Look, right. This is the thing about console wars, right? Just to go a little bit off topic from it, which is that people seem to see like, oh, you got this, and you're terrible. Like, kids, I have to spoil it for you, probably didn't have a huge amount of choice in what they got. Like, the parents basically just drops it as a present. I mean, you could either end up with a SNES, you could end up with, Sega Mega Drive or Master System or Genesis, whatever you want to call it. Or if you were really unlucky, you could have ended up with a 3DO, you poor bastards.
Oh yeah, I know, right? Hey, mom and dad got you a Jaguar.
Jesus
an
Christ.
Atari Jaguar. 3DO too. There were like 3 games on that were good. And there are people out there that were like, man, you don't even know the 3DO version of Mortal Kombat. You've never played Mortal Kombat until you played the 3DO. They were just like, nah, The Genesis version's fine. It's fine. It's fine. It has the blood.
The best game the 3DO ever gave you was having to explain to your classmates at school what the hell a 3DO even was.
Yeah, that's the ARG. Was that the system that like Night Trap and shit came out on, or was that Sega CD?
Yeah, I think that also came out on Sega CD, but there were also games like there was the notorious Doom clone for it, which was developed in 6 weeks, and basically you could have run it better on the washing machines or laundry machines at the time. It was dreadful.
Doom will run on those anyway. What was it called? What was this 3DO Doom clone called?
No, it was literally Doom.
A port. Oh, just a bad port. I see.
Yes.
That's unfortunate. Yes. Well, I guess we should. I kind of want to keep talking about old video game consoles, but that's not what the people have come here for, Shadon. They've come to hear our takes on the show from the creators of Danganronpa, which again, like, it feels like it just gets like. If I didn't know that, I would begin to suspect it at this point strongly. If I didn't already, yeah, it's indeed very sus. Well, before we get to patron questions, oh wait a minute. Yes, patron. We do. I think we have some patron questions, but
patrons. Holy shit! I didn't know this.
What patron?
Oh, but what did that happen?
Well, I'll tell you about it. But first, I'm gonna say that there's not a lot for me to say this week about creatives that hasn't been said before because.
I'll raise my hand. Did you find out what kind of mad drugs they were on that they had to take in order to storyboard these scenes?
We're just still doing some reporting on that. I've still got a source in the field. I'm afraid that whatever was in the air has gotten to them too. So
was there crystal and/or meth? That's all I'm asking.
Possibly. This was created in Oregon. So it's okay.
We're going live to the field here right now to find out. We can neither confirm nor deny the presence of crystal and/or meth. Back to the studio.
So the director and slash head writer, Tomohisa Taguchi, and co-head writer, Norimitsu Kaiho, are the ones who wrote all the scripts for the episodes we're about to talk about. So, yeah, again, and I don't see on Anime News Network the episode director credits. And perhaps I just rushed to this one. Maybe they're on Wikipedia, but we'll cover those next time if I can find them, if I can dig them back up. But I guess for now, though, we'll just skip to patron questions, skipping right ahead here.
Are we not also going to do the summary of the plot in 5 minutes?
Oh, do you?
Sorry, 2 minutes on.
Okay, yeah. So which one? I feel like I've been talking a lot. Would you like to summarize these episodes in a short amount of time? All right, so I've got time dot is up currently. And what we're going to do, folks, is Shadon is going to give us a plot summary of Akudama Drive, episodes 4 through 6, in 2 minutes or less. As soon as the clock rolls over to 2:15 Central Standard Time, we've got 10 seconds between then and now, so Shadon will be saying his final prayers, thanking who he needs to thank. Shadon, 2, 1, go.
Okay, so they're on a train and everything's going kind of off the rails, get a bit of mixed signals here from the executors. It's all going pretty badly. They turn up. Brawler keeps asking, hey, mind if I punch your tickets for you? And eventually the fight comes to a standstill. The executors get ejected from the train. The mystical vaults that they've been talking about, this prize they've been trying to get out of it, has finally been unsealed and it's got creepy, scary, spooky children inside. Although they're not lightly blue-skinned and not saying, hey, go find Akira. So thank God for that. Anyway, the train stops inside the absolute decontamination zone. If you step outside, you die. Sort of like when you go outside in Middlesbrough. Just saying, pretty bad. Pretty bad. But it turns out Hacker wants to leave and continue on to Kanto because he's bored of his current life. I relate. The rest of them go out into the wastelands and have a nice long talk about what happens next. They try to get some information about the kids about what's going on. They share some food, blah, blah, blah. The executives recover in hospital, but things are pretty bad. They've been
1 minute
tapped
left.
on the wrist. get taps on the back, slap on the wrist for that. You've fucked up. You've done a bad job. But the lead executor, Mr. Mask-wearing gentleman, decides, I'm going to go get me some vengeance. So he tracks them down, and it leads to a massive fight between everyone again, in which he and Brawler go one-on-one, mano-y-mano. And, it ends up with both of them dead or near death. Like, includes also scenes like where we find out the fact that the kids, at least one of the kids, can regenerate from massive gaping knife wounds. The doctor thinks Swindler's swindling, and don't we all? Brawler dies. Hoodlum intervenes when the other executor turns up and scars her face very deeply, perpetuating a cycle of vengeance, which I'll discuss later. But otherwise, we move on to the next episode with them opening up some kind of underground vault, which may or may not be the Serial Lost
5
Children.
seconds.
Akudama Drive, motherfuckers!
You've done it. You did it in less than 2 minutes. Congratulations.
All right, I'm done. I'm popping off now. Catch you later, folks.
All right, so you've left me now to do it alone. Luckily, there is not a shortage of fantastic material and patron questions to talk about. But we'll take a moment to talk about the Patreon while Shadon loads the questions up. So we have a Patreon. If you enjoy our show, and by no means do you have to, or will be pressured to support us. If you don't, entirely valid choice. I mean, I don't know if I would, and I make the show. And we're Warui Deshou. We're a bad podcast, but we think that can be good to such a degree that we're willing to create premium content. Behind a paywall, if you go to patreon.com/Warui Deshou, you can see all the different budget-friendly tiers, $2, $3, and $5. The current show, of course, the Akudama Drive pod, the Stream of Thought, is free. But we got patron questions, and to become part of the Discord so you can ask those questions, you just sign up at the lowest tier, $2, and you can get all kinds of different bonus content, like after-hour show where we answer patron questions in long form via podcast about any topic. It's a big grab bag. Occasionally other projects as well. Sometimes when I play a game or read a book, I'll post a review of it, as will Shadon. But there are higher tiers also. We do weekly coverage of other animes voted on by you, our patrons. That's another perk you get. This term, we are covering Suritama for the $3 patrons, and we are covering the second season of Shouwagen Roku Rakugo Shinju. Now, I don't know if you just heard my phone. That was the duck hunt sound, because someone has texted me. My phone. Yep, my wife texted me a heart. And so now that's shown up on the podcast. You might have, maybe you could make out the duck hunt sound that happens when
the
speaking
dog
of old
found a
games.
heart.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Do. And he took the heart. He never returned it to me. I know that's the bad one. God damn it, that dog, the worst, absolutely the worst. Yeah, Patreon. Check it out at patreon.com/Warui Deshou. And now Shadon is going to take a dip into the pool of questions from the fine folks on our Discord.
Absolutely. All right, then. So let's get this underway. Let's hit the ground running. First set of questions comes from Gogo Atomic Robot, who you can, of course, see in the chat at the moment. She has asked the following. Who will commit a sudden yet inevitable betrayal? This is a repeat of the question that she's put in last time, but
exactly.
With this show,
okay, a cheater. Cheater.
No. Is that her? Akudama? Identity now.
That's right, drunkard. We've discovered cheater.
Yeah. There we go. Okay, so Cheater has said that who will commit a sudden yet inevitable betrayal. And I'll be fair here, this show with the way things are going and the way things are changing over time, it's a reasonable question to keep asking. I am still of the opinion that Hoodlum is going to turn out to be some sort of sleeper agent for the executives.
I forgot who you were talking about.
but
I forgot his
come
name.
on, it's like I said, he's a 1/3 of Giorno.
He's
you
cool.
know?
I just forgot his
He's only
name
got
because they haven't said.
one donut hair though. We
Yeah,
discussed this.
no,
needs
he's
to have
great.
three
He
donuts.
is objectively great. I forgot he was. I should clarify. I forgot he was called Hoodlum. Like in my notes, I have him as Petty Thief because I couldn't remember his name.
That could very well be what he's called in the English translation. Eventually, you might want to get
Could
onto them
be.
for that.
Yeah.
But I'm also going to suggest that one of the two kids will betray as well, possibly.
Oh, yeah. It won't be it. If it's the little girl, then I predict that she will. If she does betray, I think she'll come back to the light because she's clearly forming like some kind of a bond with Swindler. The sort of the robot being like,
or
what?
is Swindler
You
forming
actually
a blonde
care for me?
hair? Yeah.
Like you have what are these things? Emotions that you have for me. I too feel them in my chest, and I cannot let anything happen to you. So yeah, she's
Someone cares about us. Finally, it's only been 10 years, and I'm 10 years old.
yeah. I don't even know if
But
they know
yeah.
what care is at this point. She's got to teach them. They want to know what love is, Shadon, and they need her to show
Oh
them.
no, I felt like a physical reflex to start singing that,
Yeah.
but I had to stop myself. It's like when we're about to sneeze, but you managed to stop yourself. So be grateful, everyone. You didn't end up having to hear me, like go and start singing. Oh, no, that see, Billy fell into the trap there. Billy fell into the trap.
I agree with Rebel that I want their hot pot lunchbox thing. That
I'm going to
how
talk about that in
tremendous is that?
detail later, by the way. There's stuff to discuss about that on a writing level. But I would agree that it's great. But on top of that, I'd also worry about my lack of self-restraint. I'd just be constantly getting it to like make food for me, and then I'd be like, "This is great."
I want to know.
It's still bit.
I want to know what the menu. Like, what is didn't they say there's only like 20 items on the menu?
Well, the menu is very suspiciously programmed for most of the characters there, save for Hoodlum, who was not accounted for as being part of the group. So I wonder, it seems a bit, too convenient. Everyone gets the food they like.
Terrible. Like, well, not terrible, but yeah, it is interesting. I didn't kind of connect that as like as a story thing. I thought it was just like a throwaway joke. Like, he has to eat a rice ball. But like, so they have like wine and like just, I guess, massive steaks, takoyaki. What else was on there? They didn't have ramen, which is very like, you'd feel like they'd have a staple food like that, right?
No.
Like, why can you not make, I mean, I guess you have to pre-program the box, but like if you can make a complex like wine or something like takoyaki out of air molecules or whatever the fuck, they explained it like 2 sentences how it works. Why can you not make soup? Like, you think
I'm saving my thoughts for that later, but otherwise I am in agreement that hey, it's a great piece of kit, suspiciously conveniently programmed for everyone's likes and tastes. So it's like whenever you watch like one of those sci-fi shows, like in fact, like Coraline, which I watched recently. Oh, hello, dear. We've got all the food set out for you. It's perfect, says the lady with buttons for eyes, who may or may not also want to, devour her soul. I'm just saying, it's a bit like if you're ever wanting to like, get people on your side, like for your crime or whatever, I would just simply advise, get them something average and plain. Don't give them something that's so perfectly attuned to what they want that make them go, wait a minute. How did you know that? How did you know I was into that?
So what would you? So Rebel asks, what would you make in the hot?
Oh boy,
lunchbox? I've said pizza rolls and also possibly wheat brownies.
Nice. I approve of that.
Thinking outside the box there with the dual purpose foods.
Well, you've got
pizza
you
roll.
One after the other. It's a follow up. Like, you have the wheat brownies, and then you get the munchies, and you have the pizza rolls. Like, you can do it vice versa. I see. It works. For me, it's gonna be chow mein because chow mein is great, especially when
chow mein's wonderful.
Incredibly strong sauce as well.
I just am like, look, if you have this box, right, and you're making these foods, people are going to want to kick your ass and like take it. So you got to make something that you can share. And who doesn't love a pizza roll? So you make a pizza roll, you make some edibles, and like everyone loves you. No one's going to take your box.
Well, just to tie it back to Go Inside Robot's question, you have technology here that can provide people with food from air and water. But it's obvious, but people are still starving in the streets and whatever.
We figured out how Jesus did
it. That's the inevitable betrayal. It's the betrayal of a capitalist society, not to feed its, not to feed its citizens. And also, Doc is currently frozen in time.
I'm not on my end. I'm...
Oh dear, I think Doc's buggered it.
Can everyone see me? According to Shadon, I'm Fred. On my stream, I'm good. I don't know. Let me see. On public as well. I'm good on my end.
I can see you now.
Go says I am still moving.
I can hear you, Doc.
Oh, okay, I'm back. Okay, good. Okay.
Hello.
Hello. Welcome back. That was an odd moment.
Has anything moved in your office since that freeze time? That freeze moment. Just check. Make sure no one's been shifting furniture around. Just saying. But yeah,
I've not been Men in Black, if that's what you're wondering.
That's good. That's good. I mean, so yeah, the inevitable betrayal is, of course, of a society not feeding its populace when it has the means to do so very cheaply and easily. When you literally have a magic box that makes food out of nowhere.
I think what ruined the stream was that I said we figured out how Jesus did it, and then I laughed a lot, and that broke my screen. This is going to be one of those weird shows. What do you mean by that, Coco?
It's all right. Next time there's like technical difficulties, I'll just be replaced with a little drinking bird that is constantly tapping the Y key on my keyboard.
Well, listen, I'm only using up a quarter of my CPU. I've got the green light running at 60 frames per second according to OBS and at over 6,000 kilobits per second. So
excellent. And how's the Ethereum mining coming?
Well, we have lost a few, but this is a capitalist world. They're just numbers on a spreadsheet to me. They don't mean a damn thing. Mm-hmm. So the mining continues. No, okay, great. So I haven't answered the betrayal question. All right, Emily, who do I think would betray the group? I mean, let's see. Well, it can't be Brawler. He's been effectively written out of the picture. Sad. By the way, that sucked. I hope he's not dead. I don't have full confidence that he is dead, given what we've seen in these 6 episodes. Please come back, Brawler. We miss you.
Brawler, come back.
Brawler, come back. You can blame it all on me. This is, of course, a petty thief hoodlum singing this at a karaoke bar. He was wrong, and he just can't live without him. I'm going to say, I think, again, hoodlum seems really obvious, and I don't think, we might be setting up, I don't know, this seems, Cutthroat seems obvious too, because I was going to say, so he's recently been wronged by huge scare quotes for wronged, because he deserves to be slapped.
You say scare quotes, then?
Isn't that the phrase?
Air quotes.
But the scare quotes are a thing too, right? Let's see.
Only at Halloween, as I understand. And that's long been ago.
I'm looking it up on Urban Dictionary. Scare quotes, shudder quotes, or sneer quotes around a word or a phrase to show the term is used in a non-standard, ironic, or special sense. You're right. Air quotes probably would have been more appropriate there. So air quotes for wronged, because Cutthroat deserves much more than a good slap. But he's been slapped, and so perhaps he will start to think that she's Swindler is not this beautiful angel that deserves. But frankly, I think that's just going to make him like her more. So
the thing about Cutthroat though is he's going to react to that and say, "She didn't make me bleed my own blood." Oh my
not
God,
hard
I love
enough. More,
Yeah.
moto. Hacker seems like a good fit for this. I mean, he's leaving the group. So,
Oh, is he pulling gay? No, I was about to say something then that would be spoilers for a different show entirely, but I'm not going to say that. He's gonna we're gonna have a scene where he's just gonna be there, like, you know, he's gonna be in a chair like this, and he's just gonna go,
like a Lobot, yes.
"Greetings, fellow Akudama. We've made it to the end of the game."
Oh, I hope so. That's the ending I pray for. Okay, I'm gonna go with Hacker, but we'll see. We'll check in next week. I don't remember who I said at first. I think I said that Swindler was like a double bluff. It was like meant to throw you off the scent. But yeah, all right. Let's continue. Next question.
Next question. This is also from GoGo Insight Robot. Is the Swindler a normal girl, or is that the swindle?
Okay, so this is what I was talking about last week. Right?
I couldn't help but pose. Sorry.
This is what I was talking about last week. That like they're gonna create this doubt and ambiguity where you're like, oh, I could totally see that, like, you know, how she's possibly a criminal mastermind, and I think she's a normal girl. That's what I would go with. My strongest piece of evidence is when she said this 100 yen coin is what got me into this mess. Like, as in, I don't want to talk too much about the before time. I don't want you to know that I'm here because of this accident and not because I'm an Akudama who accepted the $1 billion payday.
Well, I don't know, to be honest, one way or another, because the first thing I'll say is, what if I was to suggest to you that she didn't start as Swindler but embraces the role by the end? What if she entered the show as an ordinary girl, but leaves the show as Swindler? Now, there's a
sure.
for you.
I think she might try it on. I think she might test drive it, but ultimately decide no.
Try it on.
Yeah. I'm telling you, this is like the comparison.
Try it for 30 days. Your own Akudama identity. Satisfaction guaranteed. If not, please return to me.
Yeah. Do you have your 30-day trial period? Cancel anytime. I think the comparison I made to it was kind of where they want you to be with it was Reagan in the first season of Mob, when you were like, is he the head of Claw? Because, I mean, he's just marching in here and he's convinced everyone, and he really might be, but then it turns out, of course, that he's not. He's just a good con man. Yeah, I think it'll play out similarly. Like, she's just really like good at kind of going along for the ride.
Well, I think that what's interesting, though, as well, and this ties actually into what happens with the executors, is I think that you could be having that kind of self-fulfilling prophecy thing going on here, where you are, like, everyone keeps saying, hey, Swindler, are you going to be swindling today, doing a bit of the old swindle on the side?
Right,
you know what I mean? Bit of the old swindle. And then
large swindler with the side of Swindler. Wash it down.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Swindler's List, you know?
Oh, my God.
Sorry, that was terrible. That was awful. But I'm not taking it back. Fuck it. Who cares? Anyway, point being.
Oh, man.
Point being, though, like it can be that self-fulfilling prophecy thing where if you are forced into a role so much, you end up becoming that role. And maybe that could be quite interesting to explore as the show goes along. Or it could indeed be the case as well that Swindler has always been swindling. But what I think is interesting is that, you know how I've discussed the idea of two audiences, how there's in shows before, where, you know, you have the other characters, how they interact with each other, like when you do a performance. But then also how we, as the actual audience, are meant to feel. Do you remember that? Probably a couple of times past. Well, that kind of applies here. Because obviously, you know, there's what's going on between Swindler and the other Akudama, but then also how she presents herself to us. And we get certain information that the other characters don't. I'm not just talking in terms of we get to see everything, but also we get access to things like inner monologue. We get times when she's interacting with characters who are specifically the children, which the other Akudama do not see. And there's no evidence thus far, like especially the inner monologue, which I think is really interesting, I don't think there's any evidence thus far that she is a swindler, but I also think it would be kind of ballsy on the show's part to include it in a monologue where she's not going inside her head going, meh, you know, and then just have it turn around and say like she was keeping it a secret even from us. The ultimate swindle, if you'll call it that.
Yes.
So
very clever, Shadon. Very clever.
Very clever. So the answer to the question is, I think
You're hired.
I think at present she is the ordinary girl, but that can change, and I'm really interested to see if it does and how it does. So I think they've got ways they can take this that will be really neat to explore.
But as she look into the sky, do you know that Vanessa Carlton song that I'm referring to?
No, I do not.
Oh, it's so good.
I don't know a Vanessa, nor do I know a Carlton. So it just
you know one Carlton from television. You know TV's Carlton Banks. But no, there was a great anime music video to "Ordinary Day" by Vanessa Carlton. It was about Escaflowne, and I watched it a lot because I like Vanessa Carlton. Maybe had a little bit of a crush on her 20 years ago. But yeah, that's neither here nor there.
How are you feeling about her now? Has that crush gone away?
Oh my gosh, I haven't even thought about her in a long time.
Do you want her to send you a heart via text message as well?
I wonder what she even is up to now. I'm Googling.
Oh, this is going to be depressing when you look this up. You might regret doing this.
No, listen, she's still a singer-songwriter, it says. Available on the YouTube, Spotify, etc. New album, Love is an Art, out now, May 15th, 2020. Still going strong, Shadon. Still making it happen. Yeah. Still, now in a different phase of her life, of course, from, 25 years ago or whenever it was when I was listening. But
I know.
Happy for
I'm
you,
in a different
Vanessa.
phase of my life. I definitely know I'm in a different phase of my life than I was 25 years ago, because I wasn't even like 10 at that point.
So
all right.
old. Okay.
We're all old. It's fine. It's fine.
We
it's
are old.
Fine. So that's the end of the questions from Gogo Type Robot. So thank you very much for dropping those in there. And now we've got some questions from Kate Rose. We've got a couple here. So first way is, now that we know what was in it, what did you think was going to be in the vault originally? Now there's a question.
So I'll tell you for me, I just didn't think about it on purpose. It wasn't, I wasn't, I guess I was like, the proverbial cat looking at the jangling keys. And I was like, oh, framey fights, explosions, like blood and death. And it's just like, well, this vault is just an excuse to move them around the chessboard.
Yeah.
So I wasn't really thinking too hard about it.
That's my feeling as well. There were like a couple of odd hints here and there from the Black Cat, but only small ones. But I was of the opinion that the vault was just simply the thing that we get and then we move on to the next job, as opposed to what is now happened, which is that the job has evolved. The game has, the game has evolved a little bit here. So I'm okay with that as well, though. Like, I mean, it could have been fun to speculate what was in it, but I think that ultimately the characters weren't too fussed about it, and some of them certainly still aren't in one form or another. But yeah, to me, it was just we need to get the vault for the monies. That's it. We're not even robbing the vault for the money inside of it. We're just robbing it to get money from elsewhere, which is actually kind of interesting. That's a bit of a subversion. Like, I just want you to open the vault, but I don't want you to stealing anything from it, and then I'll pay you anyway. Can you imagine that if you're a bank robber and you got that kind of job? Right. Okay, this vault is completely loaded with gold, jewels, silver, coins, you name it, priceless antiques. And then just everyone's like, okay, how much of it do I steal and how much do I keep? And they go, none and none.
But I'll pay you anyway just to open it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it will be weird. No question. I guess if I had put a few minutes of thought into it, I would have said some kind of government secret about Kanto, or some kind of weapon or something that they would fear, which I guess the kids could turn out to be. And in chat, Catherine follows up and said, she asks, I should have asked how small children could have billions of dollars. because they're robots. They are not small children. They are robots. And either their creator is bankrolling this or, like, who the fuck knows. But they are definitely not simply small children. Apologies if you haven't gotten through episode 6 and learned that they're robots. I saw that you had finished episode 5. I hope I didn't spoil that for you. So sorry. They are indeed robots. Well, or are they robots? Wait a minute. They might not be robots. I thought so when Cutthroat like punctures the chest of one. That was a 3D. Like my fist was coming at you. I didn't even mean to do that. But when Cutthroat, when he punches through the chest of one to stab the executioner, were there sparks coming out of the chest? I thought that there were.
To answer your question,
was it from the backpack? It was from the backpack. Yes. Oh, yes. Okay, so it's my bad. Okay, they're not robots. They are, as PCJ says, synthetic humans. I would guess they're maybe like, or they're regular humans who've been experimented on and have given a drug to, they're Tom Cruise in an Interview with a Vampire bit them, and now they're immortal. I think he did that to one other child character, and it was
they're really just on their way to the ruins of the Tokyo Olympic Stadium. They want to figure out what happened there a couple of years back. I mean, they say a giant bomb was dropped, but we all know that explosion looks eerily similar. I'm just saying. One lead character is on a bike. Just saying.
Interesting. Oh, this is an interesting. So, what are you saying exactly?
I'm joking that it's a sequel to Akira.
Oh. Okay.
Tokyo Olympic Stadium, guy on a bike, spooky, scary children.
Yeah, so they can eat, like Gogo says, but they can't. But they don't feel hunger. They can eat. So maybe synthetic humans are cyborgs. Yeah, I mean, I guess that would like rule out that they're ordinary, regular humans who have been changed or have some kind of power and are immortal. Because they don't have to eat. Yeah, definitely.
Well,
they
mentioned there was a professor.
That's right. And when you have a professor, you have androids.
yeah, that's right. So
Dr. Giraud
someone's been treating gene sequences like match-3 games, has just been splicing them all together, seeing what sticks.
Yeah.
Yes, I've got the combo. Finally, I succeeded the ultimate life form.
Dr. Frank's playing Candy Crush. Yes, exactly.
No.
Well, yeah, we've done it finally.
No, I do not play the Candy Crush. I instead play the visual novels for their artistic merits. Clink, clink.
Not just the visual novel, the eroge. I'm an eroge connoisseur. Thank you very much.
It is life studies, I assure you.
Right. The out. The big out.
As I am interested in proportions in a purely mathematical sense.
Yes, exactly. It's the Pythagorean beauty of the anime titty. Right. Yes, definitely.
Oh God,
that's what's happening.
Sometimes that dead horse still just has a little bit of life in it, and it always makes me smile when we just wring that out. Right, next question from Kate goes thusly: what do you think of the executioners after episode 6? Has your opinion changed since their first appearance? So this was going to be a talking point of mine, and I might as well go for the full double-barreled shotgun blast of it right now. We have a speech from the lead executor lady, Granny Goodness, I'm going to call her, because she's basically the same character.
Okay.
You know I'm right.
Okay.
Where she describes to the younger executor, they haven't been given names yet, so I'm just going to say that lady executor, female executor, Neo Naoto Shirogane, you know what I'm fucking mean. I've already made that joke once, so I'm going to make it again.
She looks like she could be like the sister of Swindler. You know that we were saying about Suritama and the same face of the women. There's maybe a little bit of, take a look at the young synthetic human girl, the Swindler, and the junior partner lady executor, and they all look like they could be having dinner around a family table.
Mm-hmm. So she explains that what they've done is in the past, executors executioners used to work alone. But unfortunately, their casualty rate was something ridiculous like 80%, which I don't even know what to say to that. Like, Jesus Christ. I thought, OCP from RoboCop were bad, but I'm guessing that, these guys are even worse. So they came up with an idea. They're going to have them partner up because feelings.
Yes.
Which I mean, coming from Granny Goodness, she makes it sound sincere, but I never thought I'd hear the day an anime would use the word feelings in that way. Like, feelings are what are important here, because then the master apprentice relationship, only two there are. We've been through this before. It really is. We've been through this before.
Yeah.
Strengthens the will to live and all that kind of thing.
So separates us from the animals.
Yes, and I could argue maybe there's a hint of truth in that, but I have an alternate theory, which is I think that the entire idea of the master-apprentice relationship for the executioners is to kind of wedlock them into a cycle of vengeance and zealotry.
Right.
Because there's very clearly with our elder executor guy, the one who looks like Answer from Guilty Gear Xrd, because he's got this little mask up and he's also got his hair like that. He, when he takes his mask off, has a scar running from around his near his jawline like this, just snaking away from his mouth. So he has clearly had a similar thing happen to him in the past, where his own master must have died at some point in the fight against the Akudama, and that's like giving him this fervor in fighting them. And then, of course, what happens at the end of episode 6? Hoodlum, well, he gives her, the cross basically to her eye and blinds her, scars her for life. And her master is now dead as well. So she's similarly wedlocked to this cycle of vengeance that's going on here. So the executives, we get to see that there's a tiny bit of personal humanity buried deep within them. But whatever training they've been through, particularly this relationship that is forced upon them, where they have to look, master and apprentice, that really is intended to have the master die first. Essentially, they've got savvy to the whole, Acts 1 mentor dies thing as a means of motivating the hero, and they've weaponized it to train the cops.
Exactly.
So,
right.
It really is impressive when you put it like that. But I think that, there is just a little kernel of humanity in there, because for all that he might have been the villain, he was still fighting for himself at the end, Mr. Elder Executor. Why else do we have the visual image of him taking his mask off? We get to see him as himself at that point. He's no longer necessarily entirely a tool of the government. Mostly still, but he just wants to fight because, well, it's for his personal reasons, he wants to get revenge on them, not be beaten by them, and it's almost kind of a personal insult.
His motivation to fight that, did he go into that in the previous set of episodes? Because I don't recall exactly. Does he have a motive of vengeance?
He just mentions a number of times, I won't be beaten by punks like you, that kind of thing.
Okay.
And so I think at some point, it's crossed from being professional to personal, that his pride was injured.
Right.
So yeah, he does after all go out on his own. So, and that's when it becomes more what he wants to do, basically, rather than what the government wants. But yeah, I think that my impression is that they are, well, apart from everything that we've seen thus far, which is that they are firstly a credible threat, which I think is a very good thing to have in a show like this. It'd be too easy to okay, when I say credible threat, when you have heist shows like Lupin, for example, let's be honest, unless we're talking Fujiko Mine, Zenigata is not a credible threat. But that's fine, because that's the construction of the show. It's a comedy, it's a wacky caper show kind of thing. But here, things are, while wacky in their own right, and certainly a bit almost slapstick in the way that some of the gore is handled, the threat is still treated seriously. And so therefore it needs to be presented as a credible threat. We have all of these characters who are archetypes, who are very good at what they do. They're the best at, at what they are. But then we have the actual cops who are just simply better trained, physically stronger, all that. They are genuinely quite dangerous. So it's good that he is a credible threat in this show, I would argue. But yeah, it goes to show, even beyond all that training that they've had and them just being that credible threat, that this society is brainwashing them almost into perpetuating this ongoing, never-ending fight against the Akudama that seems almost cyclic.
Yeah, it's very interesting. This is not... I hadn't thought about the two-person relationship thing being that the way it played out in front of us was the way it usually played out, and that was a measure of control put in by the state, and that they clearly like the feelings between master and student were something they wanted to manipulate, but just that that this kind of thing happens a lot is interesting, in a sense. So do you think she's going to get like a bright-eyed, bushy-tailed little boy executor?
Well, we saw that there was a third executor in the OP. This blonde-haired chap.
I try not to pay attention to the OP because it kind of blows. The music.
I think I think the OP looks great, and the music is good up until the point, as you've rightly pointed out on the Discord. When the chorus comes in, it's just like
kiss me, oh kiss me, I knew how to be loved for me. And then suddenly it's like someone's taking a cattle prod to him, and suddenly it's like yeah, like, and then it gets back on track. But yeah, I agree. The verses are fine, but it's just such a bummer. I mean,
tangentially, I'll mention that I went to a Church of England school when I was a kid, and the way that they sing these lyrics is the way that I sang "All Creatures Bright and Beautiful" when I was 7.
I know. It's a great analogy, like being forced to sing hymns. Yeah. Yep. Yeah.
I was like tranquilized.
For sure. But this is interesting. So yeah, I wonder. I mean, how could you? Do you think that they could control okay? So your hypothesis, right, is that the state weaponizes this kind of cycle that is always kind of that the common link between all the different groups is like there's always revenge, some kind of revenge motive, right? For the junior, the master dies, the senior partner dies, the junior becomes a senior partner and then pursues Akudama because, out of a desire for revenge. How could they how could they control the master always being the one to get killed instead of the junior partner? I mean, I guess they couldn't always do it, but maybe it's just sort of the thing they shoot for. It just seems like such a variable,
On a long enough time scale, I think it would be fine. They retire. It doesn't have to necessarily be death. Maybe they get maimed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I
Scars
think it makes sense. And on and on top of that, you have the reverse with the Akudama, where we see, of course, with Hoodlum taking up Brawler's cause at the end. That's also for them. Like, the executioners killed my bro, and you can see how that over time could ferment into like a hatred of the group in question.
Yeah. It could be
anyone.
I hope it doesn't kind of become this like weighty commentary on the nature of the cycle of violence.
I think it touches on it, but I don't think it's going to.
I hope not. Benefish can do that well enough, but yeah, this is not. I feel like the arena for that.
No, I would entirely agree. I think it's all right for it to bring it up, but I do think that based on what the show has given us thus far, that it just wants to mention it as a kind of background.
Can't we just come together? My God, it's like one side sees the other side as an existential threat. Why we got to do that? So because someone's coming at you with a lightsaber, Betty. Basically.
Doc's earning his topical bucks right now. Banking that currency. Way wonderful. All right. So next question coming from Kate Rose is.
Oh, I didn't get to answer though.
Oh, sorry. My apologies.
So, I think the executors are awesome. I've always thought they were awesome. They kick ass. I really love that. I like the arc, the long arc of the junior partner here that we're getting. I'm very curious to see if she ends up like following in the footsteps of her deceased partner, or if perhaps there's some kind of confrontation between her and Swindler sways her, talks her down, something like that. But I like this character now, even more than I already did. And yeah, the first guy was real fucking awesome, and I really like again the little light touch here on a very like weighty topic of like, you have the cop and the cop's partner, and the criminal and the criminal's partner, both kind of reacting to the same way about like the death of their senpai, and like you have their senpai fighting it out for what appear to be very similar reasons, and they kind of are mirror images of each other, and it's just sort of reinforcing the idea, to me anyway, in my opinion, that like, what is the difference between between cops and the people that the cops go after, or like the state's use of violence and then other people using, but like
they're
basically
all victims of the same system.
Right, exactly. Just that like what's really like meant to just put the state in its use of violence and its proper grim and grisly context and light. So I think it's good, but it's not gonna. I feel like it's not gonna like really.
It's not going to overshadow what's going on elsewhere.
Because you have
let's not also,
Doctor getting cut in half.
Yeah, and also the elder executor, like if you want any more evidence that he's like no longer working with the government like police drones like, stop your events of restriction. He's like, fuck this shit, and just kicks it like a football to take out Korea's bike. I'm like, listen, okay, in case we weren't clear on this, I think we can all agree this man is a badass.
Yeah.
I don't know about you, but I think it seems pretty crystal to me.
I mean, he like is holding his own against like 6 people that are also badasses, and great threat, like you mentioned. I love that that he died, and that also one of the Akudama appear to have died, because I mean, you want the silliness, right? You want Doctor sewing herself back together after getting cleaved in twain. But, you also want, like, the possibility there, that threat of, like, oh my God, like, the executors could really kill someone. Like, there are real stakes. So, PCJ says the reason Granny gives the executors puts them into pairs is the same reason the Akudama group is doing so well, because they're starting to care about each other and work together. Yeah, no, it's true. Like, that's why it is true that.
We've got to talk about episode 4's fight scene just to explain.
Okay,
I mean,
we could do that.
We'll do that in a bit, because I want to bring that up separately. But PCJ27 is absolutely right. And boy, howdy, do they prove that they are definitely working together, even when it seems that they're not quite doing that. Although I was very glad to see that Brawler revealed his history as a Las Vegas stage magician, catching a bull in his teeth.
Oh, God. That was... I don't want to spoil anything, but that's going to be really, really high in my like top 5 moments of this set of episodes.
It's not even just he did that, by the way, but again, we'll talk about it. I want to dissect that bit
more.
By bit.
There's a lot to that.
Oh wow, there's so much. Like,
yeah,
it's like I said, this show will put hairs on your chest. It will give you a full beard after you've watched it. All right. So next question. This is again from Kate Rose. What do you think Doxa meant in episode 5 when she said she isn't falling for Swindler's innocent acts? Well, this again boils down to the question, do we believe Swindler be swindling, or do we believe Swindler not be swindling? I don't know. If it feels like a bit of a swindle, this one. Swindle.
Swindler on the roof. That doesn't.
I think
that doesn't scan as well as yours.
Yeah. Well, maybe the Doctor's right, because the Doctor also does have a fair question, which is actually the prompt to this whole confrontation with Swindler, which is, okay, kids, money's not enough of an incentive for me anymore. I need to know I can trust you, and the fact that 2 like scary children have been leading us around with a black cat that disintegrates into dust. And I've also put neck collars on that will cause us to blow up. Although I think in her case, that's probably not a massive impediment. But anyway.
No, I think they're mostly all fine.
Yeah, I think she would just walk it off basically. Just be like,
Just rub some
"Whoop,
dirt on it.
whoop.
You're good.
Could you pass me the staple gun?
Spray the cold spray. This is like when people
Oh,
in soccer collapse and they're like writhing in pain on the ground, and then the people come out and just spray some indiscernible like cold spray on their knee, and then they get up and they're fine. Like what is in the spray? This is what Doctor uses.
I mean, I remember hearing once this joke about how sometimes even Wile E. Coyote would have to take a moment to walk stuff off, and that's the kind of energy that Doctor sometimes seems to exude. It's just like, yeah, I'm fine. Can we just have a scene of her falling where she goes meow?
Yeah, I wonder if in the Blu-rays they're gonna put in all the gory detail of, because I'm glad
Oh, the
we
gory
didn't have to
detail.
see her innards.
Cuts his own fucking legs off, and then Doctor just goes over and picks up. It's like it was one step away from being a homage to Hokuto no Ken.
Yeah.
It's like he just throws the arms back. Hey, I think you dropped these. Whoop, catch. I'm gonna lend you a hand or two. Oh
Right.
no. Oh Christ. So here's the thing, right, with this whole swindler thing. Like, we're gonna have to wait and see to find out. I think that Doctor's proven herself actually to be more multifaceted than just simply like, hey, I'll cut you 7 ways from Sunday, and also Courier, like, what's wrong with you? In that way, she's been asking so many questions of him specifically and about his sexuality. And
Why are
such,
you a
and his-
feminist?
Yeah.
That was
Why are you
such
a
weird
feminist? And then
whole thing.
literally, 30 seconds later, this is why you put women on top, and I'm like, lady, I don't
She's
know what's
all
more
over the map.
unbalanced. I don't know what's more unbalanced, your brain or your, But anyway, you might want to just think about that a little bit. But no, it makes me wonder though, because again, I'm not asking that the show go into great depth on this as I would with other shows, but is that possibly more of a reflection on her if it turns out Swindler is genuine? That she can't believe in genuine, bonds or connections between people. This reflects on her life, like,
Anything can
well,
be severed.
ooh.
No bond. Bonds aren't real. Yeah. This is a good, it's a good question.
Is bond the euphemism here?
No. She likes certain bonds, I think.
Oh.
But not bonds of friendship. Those are just not her thing. Passe. Childish. False.
Yeah. So maybe it's more a reflection on her than anything else, which could be interesting to look at briefly, but not, of course, in great depth. Don't really want that. And I think it's this little time, so I've got to say a little bit about Hacker, which is I do think this show is starting to touch on some ideas, but it's only just touching on them without giving them like great reams of time to go through them. But I'm entirely okay with that. I think it's actually quite neat that it's still willing to just bring these little things up here and there to give like wider context and flesh things out just a touch.
Mm-hmm.
But that doesn't mean it's underdeveloped, because again, it's basically again what you expect the show to be versus what it delivers, and it's not going so far of its way to like spend hours where characters exposit to each other like, well, I had a very shitty childhood, I'll tell you. Like, we don't have any of that crap basically. Which I'm grateful for in this case. So I'd be curious to see if that goes any further, but for the moment, I can't conclusively state one way or another because I don't know if Swindler's swindling, and that is to the show's credit, I would argue.
Yeah, that is definitely what Doctor meant. Is she's like, I've seen your superpower. Like, you with this, the swindle is that you've got people fooled that you're a sweetie. And they kind of come around and side with you, and you can, join people's hearts together for a common cause. But I see that this is just an act. You're just pulling the wool over their eyes. And of course she objects. And I think, I think again, she's going to turn out to be just a normal girl. Hope, maybe like you said, she'll either, kind of take on the role of Swindle. She'll see it before. She'll be like, I see how they think that I am. And she'll either try it on permanently or try it on and then discard it to go back to the normal life of eating shitty takoyaki. I'm telling the last scene in the show is going to be She's left the Akudama life and she goes back to the takoyaki stand.
And then she finds a
and then
100 yen coin on the floor,
yeah,
and then it's
exactly.
like, oh,
The
it's all
motorcycle,
happening again.
the motorcycle. You hear,
all happening again. Jesus Christ!
and you hear, "Order me one, you shit," in the background, because that's fucking Courier's favorite word is shit.
No. It'll be Doc saying takoyaki is the food of feminists.
Exactly right.
Yeah, I'm just waiting for it to just name drop Antifa at this point. It's just because she really is starting to have like the dialogue of an alt writer, and it's kind of funny.
Oh man, I'll cut you up like Thunderfoot cut up Anita Sarkeesian on YouTube. What's the next question?
Yeah, I think we should move on. Yeah. Do you think Hacker will be reunited with the group, or do you think he died on the way to Kanto?
There's no way he died. No, absolutely 0% chance.
I am gonna offer an alternative suggestion here, which is we're not gonna find out. He's just exited the show.
Oh, that would. Well, actually, don't know if that would suck because I sort of don't like him. So.
Well, yeah. Here's the thing, right? I firstly want to point out what these 3 episodes have done for us, which is that they made it clear. I mean, this is from the people who made Danganronpa, so I suppose I shouldn't be surprised. But they made it clear, people can leave or die. Brawl is gone. I mean, he's brawled his way into heaven. Rest in peace. Rest in power, brother.
Play taps. Yeah, exactly. Rest in power. May the good Lord brawl with you to your heart's content.
Oh, he's having a blast. He's probably there, like having a fist fight with like
Hercules or some shit. Yeah,
no. He's having a boxing match with Muhammad Ali. Or
there you go.
He's having the time of his fucking life.
Yeah.
But I think that firstly establishes a precedent at this point. Like, okay, the stakes are real. People can and will die, or can and will leave. The team is not like cast iron set that we're going to see. It's not like
no plot armor here, brother.
Yeah.
I don't know why I said that like Hulk Hogan. But I did.
It's it's not like a show like, dare I say, Sailor Moon, where, and that's not to drag Sailor Moon, but where you think, okay, for the most part, I think everyone's pretty much going to get through this, no problem. They're not going to kill them off, are they? Apart from the times when the show does make me think they're going to kill them off, I'm like, you bastards. But anyway, that's a discussion for a different day. So I firstly think that him leaving the show and staying gone keeps that precedent solid. If they were to bring him back, I would hope they bring him back for a reason other than him just coming in to save the day with his elite hacking skills. Maybe again he's pulled a heel turn or something, perhaps. I don't know. I would prefer it be that. But I think that his absence from the show also serves a couple of other points as well that tie into his exit and how it's portrayed. So I suppose now it's time for me to go into that right away. So I first want to note the visual levels this works on. Swindler is outside in this like empty void area, the absolute quarantine zone, also known as the Otena Tenjo field.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Close enough. Every time I hear the word Zetai, I just start hearing it in the name of in the voice of the muses from Utena. Zetai, that kind of thing.
Ume Moku Shiroku, yes.
Yeah, I can't, thank you for that. I'd forgotten it, but I just can't hear anything other than that voice now whenever I hear that word. Point being, though, she's out in the like empty void. He's still on the train, and they're on like the luxury carrier car of the train. So you get an immediate visual dichotomy between Kanto, or what he thinks Kanto is, versus the unknown wasteland, boring, crappy life. Mm-hmm. So you can that's already showing like what's drawing him there versus where they're going. So that's a good start. The second thing is his reasoning is that he wants to believe that Kanto is real, that it's a place he can go to and where he'll be happy. And we've had this discussion before. Is the show then maybe postulating that, hey, if that's what he truly believes in, let him do what he wants? He's not causing anyone any harm by doing this, apart from himself. But yes. But my perspective is that, as presented at the moment, like if he wants to do it, fine. You might argue you should stick with the team for their benefit, but the whole idea behind Akudama Drive thus far has been they don't really care about each other at the start, and they might not necessarily entirely care about each other at the end, or at least not in ways that are healthy. But that's part of it, Like that's. I mean, have you ever seen the films that the show seems to reference? Like, I think Reservoir Dogs was one of them, wasn't it?
Yes.
And what was Reservoir Dogs about in the end? It was about a dude like going
happy
back, like
family having dinner on Sunday and talking about the weather in a friendly manner. That's what
I
that
mean,
movie is about.
the song from that, which I've of course used for the podcast, is "Clowns to the left, me jokers to the right. Here I am, stuck in the middle of you."
Yeah.
And we've probably just been DMCA'd on Twitch. Thanks, Twitch.
Good job. You've now sung the lyrics out loud.
Yeah, that's
to
it.
mute the volume, gotta mute you on the replay.
Twitch executioners are gonna just burst through my window and tell me I've committed copyright crimes.
Purple-clad ninjas will come for you. Yes.
Yeah. Or it'll just be the mascot, like the little chat icon with the little eyes. Except he's gonna come in, he's gonna be scowling, he's gonna start shooting lasers. It's gonna be like Decadence, basically.
Yeah. Kappa will be there.
Yeah. Oh no, not fucking Kappa. Jesus
Indeed.
Christ. Anyway, so that's that part of it, which is the idea of
Yeah, it's good.
lame pursuit of dreams. But also consider this: we've seen many times that those interstitials where we have like the rabbit and the shark, and they're going like, and they've got all this pro Kanto propaganda going on, where it's like Kanto drops a bomb on this place. But Kansai was happy that Kanto did it because Kansai got better afterwards.
Yeah.
Which again is some real Paul Verhoeven shit. I'm totally down for that. That's great. I just wish that like they started talking about like the Nukem board game that follows in the RoboCop commercial.
Yes.
Or Factor 5000, where if you apply it, if you have it on your skin for more than 20 minutes, it'll give you skin cancer. The very thing it's meant to stop. Good bit of satire that. But here's the thing, right? Hacker, again, maybe I'm reaching here a bit with this, but he spends all his time online. He is deluded into believing that there is something waiting for him in this mystical land. It goes to show, like, again, that someone as intelligent as him does not have the critical thinking skills to consider that maybe all of this is bullshit. Which I think is a very astute observation for a lot of...
Very online people that believe that they understand... what's happening with elections and such like.
Yep.
Yeah.
So yeah, that I think is a little bit of social commentary, a bit of satire there, maybe, that he has no evidence.
Like, Choto mate, we just got a cue drop. I have to go read it.
Fucking hell. But that's it though. Like he for all his intelligence, he hasn't actually really learned anything with the information he's got. He hasn't critically thought about it. He hasn't thought himself, maybe all this is bullshit. I mean, look at the cartoons. You can tell they're bullshit. But
yeah.
So that's
really interesting.
Yeah.
Does Kanto exist? I mean, the kids in the vault say that it exists, right? But they don't say it doesn't exist. They just say it's not a utopia. Right, that's the only. I feel like that's the only positive statement we've heard about it from them.
The black cat says as much.
Yeah,
yeah.
That's he's the little boy, right? Talking to the black cat.
I really hope we don't have a Vex Seal situation. That cursed piece of shit film that I bring up occasionally.
Mm-hmm. Well, I do too. I've never even seen it, but I also hope we don't have a Vex Seal situation.
Don't bother. Right, I'm gonna roll up my sleeves here and get me digs in, because this fucking film, you have a premise. Japan puts itself behind an impenetrable energy shield, like the turn of the century. No one can see what goes on inside of it. And then suddenly they're also like the only exporter of robots to the world. But then suddenly some of the robots start going K-wire. So the whole idea is we're going to send this like special agent team in mechs and stuff, sneak them in behind the shield so they can see Japan they'll be the first people to see Japan for the first time in like 40 to 50 years. And I'm here like, holy shit, that's such a great fucking idea. We get to see how things have changed in this world. In this world, like, how would this city look different? How is it going to be changed? It's all desert.
Okay.
That's it.
How did the robots is there just like a robot making more robots in a bunker?
I don't remember. All I know is that we didn't get to see like this brand new, like radically different civilization where they're strangers in a strange land. No, it's all just apocalyptic wasteland and desert. And I'm like, fuck you. You took a great idea and you pissed it away.
What's that like law that like science fiction references a lot about, like,
Murphy's?
Not Murphy's. There's some kind of law about like on a long enough timeline, most civilizations will destroy themselves or something like that. I forget.
Oh, bloody hell.
Yeah. Anyway,
I should know this.
so this happened. This is what happened. They're positing it happened in the Tupperware, I guess that was Japan. Just they wiped themselves out.
So also, just as a side note, then, like, if we actually never get to see Kanto, I am totally okay with that.
Yeah,
because it keeps as a concept.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of those things like where you always run into this problem when writing. Here's this mysterious place that no one's ever seen, and finally our characters get to see it. We've been, as the audience, like, game builds up to this point, and we get there, and it's
now I'm gonna draw it.
All right, it's okay, I guess.
Yeah.
It's all right. Like, cool.
I would go with a different carpet, but yeah, otherwise it's fine.
So yeah, if we never saw Kanto, I'd be totally cool with that.
Yeah, I hope we don't. We're halfway through the show, I guess, so I mean, who knows, right? It could do whatever. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised at nothing at this point, but yeah, I kind of agree, and I kind of think Hacker is coming back. But as you joked, as some kind of a bad guy, because he's been incentivized to do that by Kanto. Hell, he might not even know what he's doing. He might just come back and be like, I'm playing. I'm never bored again. But he's like in some kind of death-dealing weapon, and he doesn't know he's fighting them, and they have to kill him, which I'll be fine with.
Kate Rose says in chat, "Why Kanto looks like the regular world." It depends what they do with that. If they go all in on the points of that Kanto is really no better than anywhere else, that's something.
I think she means like not the cyberpunk future, but like the 20th century or the 21st century.
Lame. That'd be lame.
Right. Yeah, it's paradise.
Plus, Kanto is still the creator of all. I mean, again, the Vexil comparison here is actually not too far because they make all this amazing technology. For example, in the episode 5, I think it is, we get, of course, the bunny and shark thing, and they're saying how Kanto makes all this amazing technology. In the background are things like the brother's backpack, the magic food tin, and also Courier's bike.
Right, that's right.
So all of those items based on this, if we can take this as given, are products of Kanto, and we know that they're pretty damn good. So I wouldn't expect it to look like the real world if they've got things like, amazingly cool cyberpunk motorcycles and, infinite food lunch boxes. I don't see how you could, unless they were going, again, it depends what they would do with it. If it was really satirical, like, the future of tomorrow is really just today kind of
yes,
thing.
Yes, exactly.
Kanto,
the home of the future.
Yeah. Or maybe it just looks like, the map from Pokemon Red Blue. I don't know.
So, like, are we clear, by the way, and it's fine if we're not, on how Hacker is going to even get there?
Winged in a Prayer?
Right. Okay. Yes. Okay. This is perfect.
Unless he believes that he literally is living in the Matrix and he can just hack his way through it.
Right. And I don't see this as a problem. This is not me criticizing the show. I just want to make sure I wasn't missing like some kind of important details about, they said they're going to keep the force field around the train or whatever, but like he's just going his own way and he's going to get there. That's totally fine.
Well, he should invite Brawler to come along with him, because if there's like radiation and stuff, I don't doubt that Brawler could literally punch the radiation out.
Exactly. Yes, punching the germs, 100%.
Oh, of course he could. All right. Do you have anything else to add to that question, Doc?
What was the question?
The question was, do you think Hacker will be reunited with the group?
Yeah.
Do you think he'll die?
No, I've already answered it. Yeah. No, we're good. We can move forward.
Okay. Question 5. Since the show started as a mission, what do you think the end goal is, and who will be left standing when the dust settles? All right. Okay. For me, I'm going to say that I think the society at large is going to remain as is. I get the feeling that this is the story of a very particular group of people at a particular time. It doesn't have the air of it of, the world is pivoting on like these kids being rescued. I mean, that's also why they're rescuing themselves. It's not like, we've got the rebel faction, who must have these kids rescued to prove the existence of child trafficking. No, it's a purely self-interested thing. But it depends on what happens when we get to the City of Lost Children. We also need to find out more about their origins. The executors certainly don't talk about them in any ways other than just goods or cargo. So the significance of them is very underplayed in this story so far, which makes me again think that we're just seeing like the stories of a particular group of people, and when we get to the end, like whoever lives will go their separate ways. Maybe Swindler embraces the Swindler identity. Maybe she was always swindling. Maybe she gets hoodwinked into a new adventure with a new group of Akudama, and that's the ending.
Yeah, that's sort of what I like as I'm thinking about it. What I kind of actually want, I've waffled around all over the place about what I think is going to happen, but what I would like to happen is, yeah, Swindler and the now mono-eyed executioner become a tandem of Akudama, with Courier popping in and out as the boyfriend who visits sometimes. And then everyone else will bite it. But there was another question about what the mission will be, right? What is the goal?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, clearly, I think it's something to do with bringing Kanto down a peg, or at least like making them share their resources or opening them up to the people of Kansai, something like that. Yeah, this is what I think ultimately the weapon or the secret of the children will be. So.
I'm not so sure, and it's only because I don't think, again, they put a great emphasis on the society. Like, it's not like when you watch Akira, like, which I saw recently, where you see that everything's bad for everyone. You get to see, like, how dilapidated everything is and all that. Like, I mean, yeah, okay, it's not, the society's not dirty or anything like that. We don't see, like, everything in a state of despair. But by which I mean, the show is not placing emphasis on the macro level of things.
That's really fair. I think this is very fair. Like, that,
yeah.
Do you have time to do some kind of revolution?
Yeah, and that's why it would feel very strange for it to then suddenly switch gears halfway through the show and have it suddenly turn to, oh yeah, we're going to change the world with all this. Yeah. I don't think it's going to.
Fair. I could see that not being about making the world a better place, just telling a story in this bizarre setting.
Yeah, that's it. Speaking of that being it, that is the end of our Patreon questions. Do you have anything else you want to add to that one, Doc, before we move on?
No, just want to thank Kate Rose and Gogo Atomic Robot once again. And, if you are a patron, please send in those questions. Keep sending them in. And if you'd like to become one to ask us these about any of the shows that we're covering, head on over to patreon.com/WARUIDESHOU. It's on the bottom corner of the screen. If you're watching and you want to spell it, but that is where you can sign up. And I think now, I guess we can transition into our discussion phase.
Yes. So I've actually covered a number of my talking points already, but I do have one I want to bring up. And it's not a big deal, but it's just worth exploring in terms of how you write something. And so let's talk about the magic lunchbox, because here's the thing, right? What the magic lunchbox can do, and when they explain it as in like, oh, it can just convert stuff from water and air, that's completely and utterly fucking possible. Like,
but it's awesome.
Yes. Here's the thing, right?
Yeah.
Here's the thing, right? It explains a tiny little bit of what it purports to be the science behind it, but this is just a thing.
The crystals. Use the magic crystals in there.
It uses the yeet waves to
the midi-chlorians make it so.
Yeah, exactly. But here's the thing, right? Initially, when they started explaining that, I was like, you're leaning a bit too much into this. You probably shouldn't say that. But what I want to say is they got away with it because then it started using it for comedy effects. Like, we get to see how the characters interact with this little rinky-dink like lunchbox, and how we get like Raw's just like got raw meat, wine, but then of course Hoplum gets enough and he's like, wait, I can't have my soup, but she can have wine? That's a liquid. That's not fair. And I also love, by the way, how the wine literally seems to inflate like a balloon.
Yeah, they all did that. The meat, it looked like a mushroom, like a pie.
Yeah,
coming out of there. It was sort of gross. So not a fan of that animation.
Yeah. So the show comes very close to over-explaining itself there, and it's just a general rule for if ever you're writing, which is if you want to put something in like that is scientifically impossible, it's not that it's scientifically impossible that's a problem at all. Like, we don't need everything to be hard sci-fi. That'd be boring. Very boring indeed. But you've got to be careful how much detail you go into. You want to keep it as light as possible when you're doing a soft sci-fi setting, and it almost kind of just nearly tripped over going too far, where I was like, whoa, this does not fit. But then thankfully it diffused that through using it appropriately with what followed with the scenes with the characters. So just a small detail there on about how you do world building, which is be careful if ever you're writing some sort of soft sci-fi like nonsense where you can literally conjure food out of thin air, like as Go-Go Silent Robot mentioned in the chat, Earl Grey hot. We all remember that. Like, we don't need to know how the fuck the replicator works in Star Trek unless you're a massive nerd, and in which case you wouldn't care anyway because the detail is a feature, not a bug.
Yeah, or you could buy a companion book for that. You're right.
Yeah, but I'm not interested in Akudama Drive and being a technical manual, as I say. That's just a term I've used before. So just a little creaky there, but not the end of the world. Just small things.
Oh yeah, I kind of disagree that it was playing with fire. I thought like it's sort of. I don't think it was ever in danger of becoming hard sci-fi. Like, I just thought it was wanting to do something dumb, and it did it. And it did it like, you know what I mean?
It's not even that it was in danger of that. It's just that I think when you say becoming hard sci-fi, there's a difference between becoming it and dabbling in it when it's not appropriate.
That's what I mean. I don't even think it was in any danger of.
It makes food out of water and air in this tiny box, even though to do so you'd need something like every nuclear reactor on Earth. I'm like, oh god,
no.
But I'm not bothered by it.
It was dumb. Yeah,
it's a minor thing, but I think that I'm just saying, like, it's just a warning that if ever you wanted to write such a thing, you just gotta be careful, gently, softly on it. You know, how does this thing work? I don't know. Do you care? You've got takoyaki. Enjoy.
See, I think it makes it more absurd that it gives this really broad explanation that, like, it's so broad as to, like, they don't write themselves into a corner by saying, like, something. I mean, it's impossible, right? But it's not, like, a very specific, and, like, you can't write an equation and be like, and this is why it's falsifiable. Like, they just say, here's this magic technology that, like, uses air molecule, and it's just fucking stupid. It's just stupid, and it's great. I'm good with the way they did it, and it never felt to me like that they were even close to tiptoeing to a danger line there. So here's a question for you, Shadon.
Oh, go on then.
Since we've come to the end of the life of our dearly beloved brawler, best boy, I want to revisit a thing like that I talked about early on, comparing it to Danganronpa and saying, well, if this is by the Danganronpa people, look for a collection of archetypes that goes on to exceed and or subvert your expectations about said archetypes. Do you think now that we can kind of view his whole kind of character arc, do you think that they accomplished that with Brawler, or was he just exactly what he said on the tin and no more, or was there more to him than met the eye, in your opinion?
I think by merit of him exiting the show at this point, I think that he pretty much was as presented. Indeed, this was something I was going to mention but forgot, but now you brought it up again. This is actually why, structurally speaking, even though I'm sad he's gone, I think it makes sense for him to leave the show at this point, because otherwise his shtick would get a bit repetitive. There'd be only so many fights he could have against executives before we go, oh, we've seen all this before. Don't get me wrong, the fights are great, they're varied, they're interesting. The final fight is fucking spectacular, especially the way it's storyboarded and with all the environmental stuff going, with the lightning and the rain, like it was almost some sort of
so
like
framey.
Western set. Yeah, it was intense, intense, I tell you. But I think there was only so far they could take the character before he got stale, in my opinion. So
really?
I think that.
Do you? But what if? I don't know. What if? 2 episodes from now, he was in a helicopter throwing tanks onto the executors.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like, they could always up the bombast. They could always turn it up more.
Yeah, and my worry would be though if they didn't. That's the problem. But yeah, I think that it makes sense for him to leave the show at this point because I don't think there was indeed that much to him. But the thing is, that's not a bad thing. If anything, like I think that when I say there's not much to him, we still get the thing like where we see how powerful and how strong he is, and he's still afraid. Like he fights the other executor, gets the ever living shit kicked out. Is the point where he says, "Oh no, it's just my guts and my bowels. It's fine."
Yes,
This happened.
Yes.
Yeah. He's been tenderized like a slab of meat, basically. But he still comes across as afraid, which is a neat little bit of dimension to his character. Like, you wouldn't think someone like him would ever get afraid, but he just keeps on trucking. But no, I think that
you did it. You said when you said he's been tenderized like meat. Now in my brain I have, do you know what really is the fucking magic lunchbox? It's just the remains of former Akudama that you're eating. No.
Oh.
Terrible. I don't know. That's where my mind went when you.
Well,
anyway.
we've got time to unthink that. So that's good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we'll just put that in the recycle bit of our brains.
Control Z.
No, I don't think there was much to him, to be quite honest. But I'm entirely okay with that. Characters don't need to have much to them. Like he was in the show for a very specific purpose.
Mm-hmm.
Also, I think Doc is frozen again.
I think I'm good on my end.
Daisy.
I think I'm good on my end.
Do.
I'll ask the
good.
YouTube chat.
That's fine then. I can't see you moving at the moment. I can't hear you either.
Well, I'm not talking. Now I'm talking. Soylent Akudama is people.
There we go. I can hear you again.
Chat, report in if I'm... Yeah. Okay, so Kate said everything's good for them, so...
How strange. Okay. So yeah, I think he served his purpose in the show.
The EU was supporting your connection to Discord, and now they no longer can.
No, that's next year. To be fair.
Oh, okay. I see.
So come January, like I'm just going to be coming in live via satellite, and it's just going to be sounding incredibly crackly. But anyway, point being, yeah, I think he served his purpose in the show. I don't think there was that much to him. I think all of that is perfectly fine, and what we got of him was mag-fucking-nificent.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So I will. Here's what I think is that. So. I mean, I guess you could maybe quibble about his relationship with Hoodlum and think, well, maybe his like loyalty or his or something like that, or is kind of beyond the scope of what you might think for the character as presented at the very beginning, or like, that he was playing along just to humor Hoodlum, but he really, of course, knew. But there's no real evidence for that. I mean, that's just total conjecture. What I would actually argue, though, is that it's the old double bluff, and the character is just cranked up to such an intensely high degree that that is how he exceeded my expectation. Because, like, you're right, there really wasn't that much more to him, but the way he inhabited that character was just so fucking insane and over the top, even compared to other people in the show, that you couldn't help but love him. Like, he was likable, not just because he was a meathead who wanted to fight, but because he was a meathead who wanted to fight, who was just like again, shonen hero arc, like times a billion. Like,
yeah,
my Aniki, and like screaming and like ripping my shirt off and having like, oh my God, I'm fear. What is fear? I will conquer this fear. I don't need your goddamn money. Yeah. I just want to fight. Like, it was so hardcore of that it was great. They didn't need to like subvert that. He was just so likable by like just being so intensely that type.
Yeah, he literally was like his reason for being was also his name. He just wanted to brawl. He wanted to have a good fight with someone, and that's it. There was no like, I'm going to do this because I want to willfully inflict pain and suffering on other people. No, he was literally just, I'm doing it because it's what I do. It's as simple as that. It's pure. There's a purity to it, I would argue, and that's why he was such a compelling like character to watch do what he did, because there was nothing. Sometimes that simplicity is best,
Yeah,
But
you,
again,
and you couldn't say he was like pure selfish or pure id because of Hoodlum, right?
no, he had good banter with him.
Yeah.
Like, even if you again, a bit simple, of course. I think Hoodlum was playing him just to try and keep himself out of life. Hey, you go fight him, so I can go be over here and just,
I'll just get in your way.
Yeah. Although, of course, there's that amazing bit where Hoodlum just froze him at the executioner.
Oh my god! Like whenever he came from off screen and did an M Bison, like a Psycho Crusher, just like died laughing. He just M Bisoned him. Oh my god, that's tremendous. So what's your next? Do you have another talking point?
Well, PCJ27 talks about the death scene, and I think it's worth mentioning in that I love how we got like little details here, like how because it's raining when the younger executioner like stands over the old or sits over the old one. We don't see her crying, but the rain washes over her eyes like this in such a way that it's symbolic of the emotion she can't really feel, but otherwise is feeling internally, like the things she can't display physically.
Exactly. Like, this is the anime 101, like, in polite society, in public, it would not be good for me to cry. But because it is raining, I can stealth cry, and the rain will mask my tears. I think we just talked about this in Suritama from last time as well, when the prince was running in the rain, etc. But that was awesome. It's like this scene, I feel like single-handedly justifies, if nothing else did before, the existence of Hoodlum. Like, because, we needed the Kohai there to mourn the senpai and bring home the impact of it. It was so great.
On top of that, though, like we've said that he's basically been he even says as much to himself, like, I'm sorry, bro, I'm going to go find someone else to hide behind, use as a meat shield. But then he finds him dead there with the other executioner there, and the other executioner there as well, the younger one. So if you took episode 1 Hoodlum and said, okay, what's he going to do? My response would have been, he's going to hide. He's going to run away. He can see that this has gone really badly wrong. There is still the executioner there who will kill him quite easily, unless he's, of course, one of them. It's all the front. Just saying.
Right, if he's the traitor or whatever, yeah.
Just saying. But
no.
You'd think yourself, no, he would go hide and run away. But no, he actually goes in to fight her out of revenge. Because he actually, I suppose, deep down did like Brawler for who he was and wasn't just simply manipulating him and using him. So yeah, that was a great moment as well. I love, by the way, how there were like certain camera cuts between the younger executioner and Hoodlum to again show they are in the equivalent role of the apprentice of sorts, the support character.
Yes.
The fucking rain, when they're falling and the thunderbolt, like the lightning bolt comes behind them as they fall. I was like, Jesus Christ, this is insane. This is like, okay, I'm gonna give here's the fight. I want you to make it as ridiculously stylish as you possibly can.
Oh, man.
How about the fact when Brawler uppercuts him in the arcade, like it was a Shoryuken?
and the fact that like they made the arcade work right before, it was so good. I thought this is like this fucking fight aesthetic was Brawler, like physically instantiated in the world, because like you're like, okay, they're facing off on the ceiling, on the roof rather, and then lightning comes down and lights up this Ferris wheel. Oh, that's fucking kick ass, and they're fighting. And then they go inside, and it lights up an entire arcade, and he does a Shoryuken. It's like it just keeps building on itself. The bonkersness.
What about when they have the fight inside the Ferris wheel cabin?
Gondola. It's like that scene I told you about in the new Baki the Grappler when those two dudes fight in a phone booth. Like how?
All I wanted for that to happen though was just to them to start fighting it, start going round.
Yes.
And we just have a zoom out shot where we can see them in the distance punching the shit out of each other as it just goes round.
I know, that would rule.
I think that'd be really funny. But yeah, like the whole fucking fight, like Jesus Christ, I mean, we get moments like, for example, where he literally stabs him through the chest with his lightsaber sai. His lightsaber, if you want to call it that.
Right.
And he just and they just literally suplexes him. He's like, I'm going
to let you stab me so that I can get close enough to command grab you.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, the whole fight up until the death scene was fantastic. It really felt to me again like I said this on Twitter, that they were evoking the kind of like dual feeling between like in a Sergio Leone film, where again we have characters with very limited characterization, but we have all this build up of like the atmosphere, like there's in the Leone spaghetti westerns, we of course had like the tumbleweed, the wind, etc., knocking like signs and whatnot, and here we've got the rain, the intensity of like it seems like also the weather itself is responding to their brawl, like it's a manifestation of their conflicts.
Yeah.
It's that same kind of energy that helps make it an interesting fight to watch, because I've normally said before that fights are interesting when we care about the characters and their conflicts of their, agendas more than anything else, rather than just spectacle brawls. But sometimes spectacle brawls can still work, and they absolutely fucking do here.
They do.
It's great fight.
It's a great spectacle, and like the fact that they've been fighting for 3 episodes, you're like, you want it to like culminate in this last fight. You're like, want them to throw down and leave nothing, hold nothing back, right? Leave nothing on the table. And they totally get to, and they've been established as fighters, so you kind of know what stylistically you're gonna get. And yeah, all the bombast and spectacle. It's like, I guess it's, in some ways it was a through line for these set of episodes, is these kind of clashes with Brawler, and how in the beginning he got dispatched pretty easily, but thanks to his buds wearing down the Executor, Brawler came to more of a level playing field. The two were on more of an even footing for that last bit.
Yeah,
and they killed each other, which sucked. Yeah, but ruled, but sucked. But also,
is it worth me also bringing up that I loved how like we got to see the fighting styles of the other characters, particularly Cutthroat, who seems to move completely at random tempo, like he's just shifting around in a very erratic way.
Yeah, that was. I was going to ask what you thought about him and the fighting.
No, his fighting bits are great as well. Like I think again, like the main thing for me is just how it's very difficult to track him on screen size. So he seems to move like at shifting speeds. His movement is inherently like is directed, but it's also just of a shifting tempo. Like he's just going whoop, 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 and then whoop, 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 whoop. And it's really, really odd. Like, and also he seems to jump in out of frame a lot, which completely by surprise. So they give him a way of making him visually distinct, apart from him just having knives.
Yeah, it's cool because he doesn't really like do fighting stances. He almost seems kind of languid, except like you said, he can almost blink around the screen.
Oh no, I think he does do fighting stances. He does the stabbing mantis really well because he's had both his legs taken off, but he still wants to try and kill a man.
I guess that's true. But I don't know. I guess I'm.
That was a joke.
Rewatch. No.
I was joking.
Okay.
He literally the man to see eat each other and fuck. I've watched too much nature. Point being though, like there's that scene where he's like stabs the brother through the chest, and he's like, "Oh, if I had my legs, I'd have got him."
Exactly. I didn't get to really plant and like shift my way forward. God damn it.
Speaking of the fights, though, can we talk about the fight in episode 4 and just how ridiculous that is?
Yeah, should we make this are like, do you want to just talk about this fight, or do you want to rank your top 5 like moments?
I'll just talk about the fight.
Okay, go for it.
So how do I describe? I feel like I need to give a play-by-play of this.
Yeah, we need that.
So the head executioner is charging at Courier and saying, like, your teammates have abandoned you. And so Courier shoots a bullet at him, but misses and gets Brawler instead. And then the executioner's just like, why are you a team killer, bro? You never played online multiplayer games. Bet you're a camper as well, aren't you? Well, maybe you didn't say that.
Yeah.
And it turns out, though, the Brawler, I made the Las Vegas stage magician joke. He caught the bullet in his teeth. So he spits the bullet back out, but he spits it with such force it goes straight through his shoulder.
It sounds like a gunshot when he spits it.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then we get another moment later where he shoots another bullet and misses him again, but it's like, no, it's going for your partner.
Mm-hmm.
And then he manages to force him to throw away his sai so that Brawler can get a couple of hits in.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just fucking bananas.
It's so good.
I mean, how did anyone conceive of that? Like, we're going to have, one of the characters shoot another character so he catches the bullet in his teeth and spits it back out again with such force that it actually gravely injures the opponent in question.
Don't forget, during that scene, Courier said, quote, "I'll execute your face."
No, that was Brawler.
Oh, was that Brawler? Oh, God.
Yeah. The thing is, Courier, like, he only has shit
right.
Head,
yeah. Eat shit.
As his vernacular.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Oh, my God. Yeah, that scene fucking ruled. Like, that's probably my number one, like, moment. The teeth catching the bullet and then spitting it out as if it were, and the sound effects treating it like it was a gunshot. Incredible.
Yeah. They make the thing I like as well is make good use of the environment because it's very narrow and very cramped to the point where the winning move is to get the use Courier's bike to separate the train entirely. That whole, basically every fight in this show has been really, really good. It's been good because the environments have been interesting. Like, they've kept it varied. Like, we had the hotel, for example. We've had the train itself. We've also now had the arcade and everything that followed with Brawler and the Executioner there. Like, they don't just simply have them fight in a rock quarry or some shit like that.
I feel like you're sideswiping Dragon Ball.
A tiny bit.
Rock quarry. Listen, Dragon Ball characters fight in deserts, in various other wastelands, abandoned planets, which look like deserts, tournament stages, which get blown away and beneath are deserts, and rock quarries. So have that. There's variety. In movie 4, they fight in a city, but it's not canon, so I guess it doesn't count.
It's not Cannon City. Is that
exactly?
That
not Cannon Berg or whatever. Yeah.
Wow.
No, I like it too. The different environments. I think they're really choreographed well too. It's not like, well, let's do like the same thing we did last time. It's like, how can we use everybody in kind of a really cool way, and like, how can we bring in the environments? It's almost like a really good kung fu movie. These fight scenes.
Yeah.
Like, it's just like live action-y in a way. That I really quite like.
It's very well choreographed. It's very well storyboarded.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I don't really have much else to say about these 4 episodes. I'm excited to see what happens next. I
gotta rank your goddamn moments right now.
God, I haven't put a list down to be quite
Number
honest.
one. All right. Sure. Well, I'll tell you some moments. Here's some moments. All right. The bullet one. You got. Don't sleep on this one. Cutthroat taking a bath in a tub that's outdoors.
There's something that almost feels like surreal about that. Like, it feels like something I'd see in a David Lynch or some other, like, auteur director, where you've got this psychopath who's in a bath that's been filled by rainwater. It's just
fully clothed, taking a bath as you do.
He does that twice as well, doesn't he? From my memory.
Maybe. I only remember the once, but
Definitely once, anyway.
definitely at least once. You have that moment when you think Brawler died because his hand is like on top of is sticking out from a pile of rubble, and Hoodlum's like, no, Aniki, and he's just like, ha ha ha, I'm fine. It was only a flesh wound or whatever. He just pops out immediately. That was very good.
I'm only coughing up my guts, bones, and over.
This old wound opened up. That had to be. I was gonna die from it.
Yeah, that's big Predator energy there. Like, I ain't got time to bleed.
I ain't got time to bleed. He's got the hair for the Predator.
Oh shit, he does actually. The dreads.
Catherine says, "Could you really call that a bath? He just hung out in the tub." It's a fair point, but he could be a never nude. I get the feeling that if anyone in the show is a never nude, it's Cutthroat.
Well, the thing is, like, that's probably the most clean he's ever been. Like,
yes,
the only shower he ever takes is the one in the blood of his enemies. Like, he wants basically, if he were to like cut someone on the throat and it started spraying everywhere, he would be running around it like a dog around a fire hydrant.
Yeah, probably has very
like,
smelly clothes,
arf, like that, and he'd just be loving it.
There's that point when a million pipes fall on Cutthroat, and then he amputates his own legs and crawls across the ground and springs into action. That was a great moment.
That was a JoJo's move. That felt like a JoJo's.
That definitely has to be on the list.
The catching the bullet in the teeth, of course.
That's number one. I feel like number two might be when we have no idea what the kids are, and Cutthroat like reaches his hand through the like. First of all, it holds up the boy as a human shield, and that alone is like a Cutthroat, you bastard. Like, but you've done the right thing here for self-preservation because the executor stopped in his tracks, and then he just reached through his chest to stab him.
He was trying to save Swindler because he's mad totes in love with her.
Yeah, no, you're right. He saved her life, and then
by almost getting someone else killed.
Incredible.
I didn't realize that Cutthroat would be doing the trolley problem thing, But hey, here we are.
It's just a reenactment of the first episode of Dragon Ball Z, where Piccolo shoots through Raditz to kill. Has to kill Goku in order to kill Raditz. The Doctor gets cut in half, casually almost, not reacting to it at all, just sort of like.
Yeah,
slides off her body.
Can I throw in the moment as well when like where the Doctor is on the back of Courier's bike and he says, "Keep it off, please." It's like, I'm balancing it out, and then just sliding from the right hand side of the frame, you just get cut for going, "I'm riding too!" I'm
running toward the fight.
I'm riding too. I'm just like, oh, for God's sake!
It's so good.
It was such a great comedy shot. That
the M Bison from Hoodlum, and then everything in the episode 6, like the arcade coming to life, and the lightning heating up the Ferris wheel. Like, yeah, I mean, these are all like, this was a power packed set. I mean, I would go 1, the bullet. I would go 2, Cutthroat punching through the chest of the kid. 3, I would probably go arcade coming to life. 4, the M Bison.
The M Bison there. What about the
5, I would kind of combine the. I feel the arcade represents the Ferris wheel moment, and so I don't want to put them both on the list for my own personal list. And then number 5, I would say Cutthroat's bath.
Yeah, I agree with all those moments. They're all fantastic.
Okay, just tremendous.
All right, do we have anything else to add?
I mean, I don't think so. This show rocks, man. It's so fucking great. This is the sugary snack that we need.
Yeah, exactly. It's refreshing because there's still things to think about, but it's just a wild ride, really. It's really, really satisfying and visceral to watch, I think. Like you said before, it had that kung fu movie feel, and it really does feel like watching one of those, I think. You've got a very pulpy premise. You've got a heist story. You've got all that stuff. You've got all of the, very simplistic characters, but they all work. And
Yeah.
when you get just like crazy balls to the wall fucking fight scenes like you get here, it's great. So yeah, I'm in agreement. This show's a
Yeah.
fucking riot.
And the main, I think I probably read this on Twitter. I don't think this is my original point, but I've thought about it in my brain. I've come to this conclusion independently of reading it, because I think I read it and then forgot, and now I thought of it on my own. So the big inversion from the Danganronpa stories is, in Danganronpa you have a group of kids that would normally be working together as classmates, students, and they have underlying structures pulling them apart and causing them to not trust each other and everything like that. Whereas in Akudama Drive, you have a group of loners that don't like to trust each other, and circumstances are pushing them together and forcing them to cooperate and see that together they can be a stronger force than they were apart. Which is neat.
Absolutely. Right.
Okay, man.
Right.
Time to rate the episode.
Rate the episode. Like I said last time, I'm not going to give this like a full fat like 5 out of 5 or anything like that, because I do also prefer shows I can get my teeth into about like, themes, ideas, character, blah 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 blah. But it dabbles in it just a little bit, and it dabbles in it enough to push it up a little higher than I gave it last time. The fight scenes were fucking incredible. It still looks great. It's a lot of fun. I never thought I would feel so bad for a character dying who otherwise had so little to them in terms of personality, substance, or development. Like, he was brawler and he brawled, and that's really it. That's all you need to know about him. But I still felt bad for him. And I felt bad for the younger executioner as well, she's trapped in the same shitty system as the other one. And someday she'll probably be taking his place by being dead whilst her apprentice looks over her, which is sucky. But yeah, no, I'm legitimately loving this show. It's a breath of fresh air. It's something very different than what we've had before.
Yeah.
But it keeps exciting. It keeps being exciting. It keeps being fresh and interesting. I like that we have different set pieces every time. That's always welcome. It always makes sure that we don't feel like we're too stuck with the same character, like with just the same beats over and over. The characters leaving the show or dying also keeps things like tense. We don't believe anyone's invulnerable. Who knows who could go next,
Rip to
for
the cat.
reason.
I mean,
the
cat was not. I mean, the cat wasn't real, I guess, but like, I guess that like, we were with the cat. We were used to the cat for 4 episodes, or 3 episodes, and then cat's taken away. Like, that sort of like also lends to the point that you're saying, like, the revolving door of characters, because cat leaves, kids come in. So even though they're the same.
Yep, exactly. So all told, I think I'm going to give this set of episodes. I was originally going to give them 4 out of 5, but I'm going to up it to 4.25 bullets caught in teeth out of 5 because precisely of that moment. Precisely because of that moment. It's better than the first set of episodes. Like, I'm glad, like, they've got all the characters established, and now they've played with them in really cool ways, almost like kids play with them. Like, and it's got that almost kind of like childlike glee in which it throws these characters against each other. So yeah, I have really been enjoying it, and I look forward to seeing more next week. The next 3 weeks.
Yeah, I think that this, funnily enough, this might be a better experience as a game, as like a VN or an RPG. Lauren Orsini, and you clued me into this, that she said this should be a fighting game.
System works. Make me an Akudama Drive game.
Which is pretty good.
Akudama Overdrive, when?
Oh, Akudama Overdrive, very good. Akudama Drive and Miss Swindler. But I think that was bad, so discard that also. Control Z on that joke. That doesn't mean I haven't enjoyed it as an anime. I actually really quite like it. It is good to, like, if you follow the history of Stream of Thought and Second Stream and stuff, like, we usually will do shows we'll cover anime that are just beefier in terms of ideas, themes, philosophy, worldview, character development, motif, on and on. You know, we talked about Banana Fish, Vinland Saga, Sarazanmai, and that's just a few. But this show just has such a different tone than what we usually cover. So like like you said, very refreshing for us to just like have fun and be entertained and talk about the ways the show entertained us, while, as you say, still talking about things like directorial touches, the writing, on and on, the choreography, etc. But so yeah, I've had such a good time with it. I'm gonna give it 4.5 rainwater baths out of 5.
Yeah, boy.
So
Nice.
that is where I'm at. But if someone wants to know where you're at on Twitter, Shadon, where you be?
Where am I at? I'll tell you where I'm at. I'm at Shadon1010. That's 1010 at the end there. On Twitter, you can follow me, ask me about anything or everything. I am currently sitting on a massive cache of gold
On a
Kit
cat,
Kats.
a massive cat.
Yeah,
free that cat.
It's a Bengal tiger, mate. I'm not freeing that. Fucking kill someone. No, I'm currently sitting on a cache of gold Kit Kats. I have beer in the fridge. I'm feeling pretty good right now. So yeah, ask me about anything or everything. It's all gravy.
Excellent. You can find me at The Subtle Doctor on Twitter. No spaces, no caps. And yeah, tweet at me about anything and everything. Before we go, just want to say, once again, you can head over to the Patreon to get more content from us if you enjoy this once every 3 episodes Akudama Drive. The Discord is always a lovely place. We got a great community of folks that... So the Discord is lovely. However,
yes,
there is a... what's the word I'm looking for? There is why can I not think of the word? There's like, so I'll use a different word. There's a shortage of people that operate on American time that frequent it. And so much of the activity currently going on is on Shadon time.
Go Europe! Go Europe!
We have a lot of fantastic Euros in the Discord, and they are all amazing, and I love talking to them. We need also the American.
Where's the Yanks?
The Yanks need to step up. The filthy Americans get to typing in the Discord during the daytimes. But no, look, all kidding aside, it's really fun there. And for Christmas, we have a big upcoming plans to do another film festival for Halloween. Shadon will be filling you in on more details as those become available.
Oh, that was a thing. In case you're new to our channel and may have not heard that before, I ran for our patrons a 14+ hour Halloween film festival of anime and live action stuff. And it was pretty fucking great. I had a lot of people turn out for it. I had a really good time. We even watched some bad anime, some horrendous shit. Queen's Blade was one of them, a show that I think I wouldn't even shoot into the sun for fear of poisoning it somehow. Ugh. That's fucking diabolical.
God.
Fucking turgid piece of shit.
Isn't it based on American
sex
books?
offender's memoirs?
I'm gonna Google. Let's see, Queen's Blade Wikipedia. I'm pretty sure it's based on a Western property.
I feel like if you went to Queen's Blade's Wikipedia, the police should come visit you.
No, I'm wrong about that. Maybe there's an adaptation or a TV series or something. There's an anime TV series, light novel, anime TV series, game, OVA. It looks like it's based on a series of visual combat books. What is a visual combat book? A game book.
Is it a book that physically assaults you because it's that bad?
It's a work of fiction printed that allows the reader to participate in the story by making choices. So choose your own adventure book, it sounds.
Which girl do you want to sexually assault of these bunch here? Great.
Published by Hobby Japan. Oh, I'm thinking of, I was thinking of Witchblade, not Queensblade. That's the one that's
All
an
right,
anime,
don't think of Queensblade.
but was
Like,
also
I think,
American.
I think take the hint, Doc. Like I said, Queensblade, your brain substitutes in something else. That's a defense mechanism. That is like, a reflex. Just don't fucking do it. I swear. All right. Anyway.
Oh my God. Yeah. But the upcoming film festival, we also do periodic like game nights and watch-alongs for movies, do some video game streams, all that, plus the extra live stream podcast discussions. You can find out about it on patreon.com/Warui Deshou. And I think with that, all that's left is to Witchblade was a good live show, says Catherine. I've heard similar from other people, which is what honestly the whole time Shadon has been talking about. Shadon and I have been talking about. No, wait, let me rephrase that. We haven't been talking about Queensblade for weeks. We've had a couple different conversations about Queensblade that were very short, and I kept thinking he was talking about Witchblade. But that was not the case.
Reflex. Just saying.
Well, everybody, hope to see you next week when we talk about Suritama, episodes 5 through 8. But until then, this is us, Shadon and Subtle Doctor, saying, I'm sorry, Drunkard and Negotiator, saying,
thank you.
Embrace each other, everyone, to the ends of the universe.
Good night.